is going on today, guys? So we are getting very close to getting the 240 done. I'm excited. We're getting rolling on this bad boy, but today we're gonna install the Holley Terminator X. I'm super excited about it. So we're gonna work on getting the wire harness in, getting a place for the ECU to be put in, all the other stuff. It shouldn't be too big of a video. You know, honestly, it's all plug and play. There's only a few loose wires that you have to take care of and things like that. But yeah, let's go ahead and just show you what we got here. So we've got the full harness. Let me get this zoomed out. There we go. We got the full harness. We've got the ECU, injector plug set, all our input outputs, IOs as they call them, harness. We've got our little touch screen, and then we'll have our main plug harness, which I have over on the car. So I mean, it is honestly pretty straightforward. These loose wires that go inside the car, we've got one that goes to a switched connection, and then the other one is a ground, and then that will go to our little touch screen there. And then on this side over here, we'll have one wire that goes straight to the battery, and then we've got a fuel pump wire, and that would be what was that, tack wire, I believe. Blue and white was tack wire. Yep. So really super simple. Gonna be an easy job. I think the biggest portion of this job that we're gonna mess with is just getting it tucked in, looking clean. I don't want a lot of the wire harness seen, so we'll tuck it up underneath the intake. So they'll all cup up underneath here. And I'm thinking we'll just go ahead and utilize that hole, because Holley was asking for a 2-inch hole, and that's pretty much it there. One thing I had to do is get an adapter for that oil sensor. So you can't use the original GM oil sensor if it's a single plug. This harness comes with a three wire pin plug for the oil pressure sensor. And then got the adapter for the map sensor there. And we've already got our wideband into the exhaust and our adapter on there for the wideband. So that is already did. We'll still have to put in our NOx sensors. I don't know, I see a lot of people not run the NOx sensors. I'm not sure. I'm gonna put them in, and either, if I don't need to run them, I'll just disable it or whatnot. And only other thing I think I'm gonna have to do is I might have to re-extend the fuel pressure sensor wire over to here. So on the harness, it comes out here next to the IAT and all that other stuff. But it looks like I can just remove it a little bit and bring it back over here, because I don't want to move my fuel pressure block and get another fitting for over here when I can just use the fuel pressure regulator for the sensor itself. So we're going to rock that instead. And yeah, I think that's it. So let's just go ahead and get started. So we got the whole wire harness all completely installed. All the injector wires, out. Everything's kind of good in there. Only things we don't have hooked up yet is the IAT, TPS, and then manifold air temp sensor, which we'll have that on as soon as we get our throttle body on there. Those are our last 3 plugs. I pulled the fuel pressure wires all the way back out here, re-loomed it. I had some real nice loom as well to kind of go with it, so we re-loomed that up over to there. That is good to go. Katie is working on polishing up that starter. She's already got the spark plug wires done. So we're gonna wrap these spark plug wires in this heat shield here to go up around the exhaust headers, and that'll keep those from burning up, because we're gonna have to wrap a couple around here, up around the side there, kind of down, so we just don't want them burning up. And we have got the main power wire running through the firewall for the Terminator. And I've kind of picked a place for the Terminator. I'm not sure if you guys are gonna be able to see this. I don't have no light down here. It's pretty dark. If you can kind of see right there, it's up on the firewall. I don't know, there's a couple stands that come off the firewall there, and I have it bolted to that, so it's actually not bolted to the firewall. It's kind of isolated away from it. But I'm not sure if that's the place I want to run it yet, so I'm not going to commit to it until I'm 100% sure. But all the wires are ran. Everything is good. Got our crank wire down by the starter already done, so now we can install the starter and not have to deal with that. So yeah, just slowly whittling away at it. Also, while I was waiting, I ended up putting my other vacuum line that goes to the blow-off valve all ran and ready to roll. One thing I did notice that I need to get done though before we're all finished up is my steam port line right here. I need to drill a hole in there and tap some threads into that and put a little fitting in there so that I can run a line from there to the radiator for our steam port. But other than that, we are getting dang close. So kind of just waiting on this spacer. I'm gonna run home here pretty soon and see if that bad boy's in the mill yet, and just keep rolling. All right, peeps. So we are on another update. I've been working like crazy on this car, getting it just ready to roll. Fittings actually are gonna be a day early. They said they're supposed to be delivered today. So I'm gonna try to get as much as I can done. So then tomorrow, Friday, we can put those fittings on and hopefully start this thing. Tomorrow's a busy day, so I probably won't be able to work on it till nighttime. But yeah, we're just gonna keep rocking and rolling on this. So I'll go ahead and I'll show you guys. I'm kind of thinking about this front bumper. So this was the bumper that I got with the whole fiberglass kit. My other one is up on the shelf there. That was the one that was originally on the car. But that one is an actual urethane original front bumper, which I don't want to drill a hole into. So the new exhaust is coming out right there, and so we'll have to drill a hole in here. This fiberglass front bumper has already been cut up before on the ends and things like that. So I just don't feel as guilty cutting this bumper up. So I think we're gonna just rock this one. It honestly doesn't look that bad either. Honestly, I kind of like it. So yeah, there's that. I have a full list of all my final stuff I need done. This is the final list. So, and they're all just basic things we need to do, like wire alternator, wire starter, boost solenoid. I got the fittings for it, so that's one more thing off the list. Get the fuel lines done, wire in fan, which is all the ECU wiring, stuff like that. Put in oil in the motor, check trans fluid, swap out the fuel pressure sensor, and literally the rest is just all wiring from the ECU to get our fuel pump going, starter going, fans going, all that good stuff. So just mainly wiring. So I will crack this hood here open in a second so you guys can see the kind of final finished product of the engine bay, and get that rolling for you guys. Let's check that out. And then here in some free time, I'm gonna probably pull it off the lift, put it over in this area here, and just get my wiring done so I can crawl inside out of it with the doors open, things like that, because this thing is a tight fit. I was underneath there yesterday under the dash putting the throttle cable on, and that was kicking my butt. So having the doors open and things like that will definitely help. But anyway, we'll just go ahead and pull this hood off real quick and give you guys a little look. So check that out. She has turned out nice. Everything is in its place. Only other thing I'll have to do is my catch can. I still got those blocked off for now. I need to find a place for the catch can. That's another thing, but I'm not too worried about that as far as being able to start the car up and get its first little tune in it and running. so not worried about that. But got our steam port line put into the radiator. Everything is just, like I said, in its place. The engine bay becomes way more cluttered with the wire harness and everything else in there. I was like, it was real clean at the start with, and then as it kind of kept going, just kind of getting more cluttered, more cluttered. Got the new throttle cable on, got it all set, so we got full throttle, 100%. We did wrap all our spark plug wires with some heat resistant, or whatever you want to call it, heat shielding, so we don't burn it on the exhaust. I also did put another boot on each side that was actually touching the exhaust to help get that away and not be burnt. So yeah, like I said, the fuel fitting should be here today. They're probably already delivered, so we just got to chop this fuel line down, put a 90 right here, and then we're going to be putting our 2 other fittings right here, and then making a new crossover that is a 10A in, so to make sure we're getting enough fuel on the other side. Other than that, I mean, everything mechanically is done, so it is just a matter of wiring in the wires and getting this thing rocking and rolling. I am super excited. I've got a little mesh grill that goes over to the turbo. That is going to be the final touch. Once everything is done and I'm ready to start, I'll install that as our last install piece. So yeah, I'm excited to get this thing out of here and give it a bath too. Look how dirty this thing is. Just been catching dust and dirt and everything else while it's been sitting being worked on. So she could use a bath for sure, like my lady. Just kidding. She don't stink. My car, that is. All right, guys. Well, we're just going to get rocking and rolling on this wiring, and hopefully we get somewhere. All right, peeps. So we've got everything hooked up. All the wires are done. I say everything, but it's not. We still got the alternator excite wire. I still got my inputs and outputs, which I will do later. Just kind of getting everything somewhat together. We'll go inside here and show you guys the inside. Don't worry about the rat's nest. I haven't put everything back. This is just all pulled out for making sure everything is going to work. So we've got our CAN bus to our little 3.5. We've got our dual fuel pump relays right there running to our Magna fuel pump. All the ECU wires are hooked up, kind of just sitting around. Fuse box is still pulled down. I had to get my wires out. So we will put all those back when it's done. All this stuff down here is just all the extra stuff, my power probe and all that. So don't worry about all that. But we got our switches kind of back in temporarily. Everything seems to be working. Only thing I don't have hooked up is the trans brake, bump box. Everything else is still good to go. But I'll have to wire in the inputs and outputs on that to make all that work. So that is it. I think we are pretty much done. I did get the fuel lines done. I don't know if I'd showed that earlier. All the fuel lines. Got that one down in here. Got my AN10 made. Everything is rolling. So I think that is it. I think we are ready to test fire. So I'm gonna just double check everything. I'm gonna put a tune into the ECU, and then we'll prime the fuel pump, all that good stuff, make sure there's no leaks, all that good stuff. And after I put that in and the fuel pump kicks on, most people want to start it at that point. But me, I do not. After we get that first tune dialed in there, I'm gonna pull the SD card, put it into my computer, and then I gotta calibrate a few things. So we have got the Rife IAT air intake temp sensor, and then we've got aftermarket fuel pressure and oil pressure. I don't know if you can see that down there. So I will have to go back in there and calibrate that stuff, and I'll also have to calibrate the 2.5 bar map sensor and make sure all that is good to go. Once we've calibrated all that, then we can actually hit that fire button. But I do believe I'm gonna call it for the end of this video, kind of leave you guys hanging on the cliffhanger. Is it gonna start? One thing I do gotta remember is put oil in it. I'm gonna do that right now before we do anything else. Gotta get oil in it. But we will see. So we'll catch you all in the next video. Appreciate you watching.